Today on Freedom Journal Iraq, Navy Seabees repair a crucial runway, and coalition forces help out some furry friends. Hello, I'm Staff Sergeant Nicholas Kurtz. Welcome to this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. Coalition forces seized control of the skies over Iraq at the outset of the war, and the ability to move troops and equipment through the air at will continues to have a big impact on enemy operations. The commander of the air component, Major General Dave Edgington, spoke about one aircraft's increasingly important role in operations in Iraq.
The most emphasis recently has been from the unmanned aerial vehicles, the UAVs, of which the Air Force provides the Predators, and we have had an increasing demand. Based on General Petraeus's recent request and the Secretary of Defense, the United States approval, the United States Air Force has accelerated by 1 year the deployment of several Predator systems, and in fact this week we are increasing our capability with the Predators overhead in Iraq in support of the mission here.
General Edgington also spoke about the nonstop troop transport operations happening both in Iraq and Afghanistan. The airlift component set a record last month with 5,500 passengers in one day, the highest single-day total since 2003. Al-Taqaddum is one of the coalition's key airfields in Iraq, located just an hour west of Baghdad. It has 2 runways, but only one is operational. Petty Officer Chad Bricks introduces us to the Seabees who are working to increase the airfield's viability.
This runway has not been active since U.S. forces entered Iraq in 2003.
This is the #1 priority project going. I think it's scheduled for the budget. It's budgeted right now for like $1.5 million, so it's right at the top of the list.
Right now, only one of the runways at TQ is operational, and with this base being the hub of personnel and material moving through Al Anbar, the repairs are mission essential.
Most of the repairs we're doing here, they've been reassessed by the 30th NCR Naval Construction Regiment, and they're all designed so that when the airplanes do land on them, that the patch repairs don't shift or move underneath the landing aircraft.
When the Seabees finish this project, the runway is slated to be a dropping point for MRAPs moving into country. Planes carry in more than 2 million pounds of equipment and personnel into Al-Taqaddum daily. Petty Officer Chad Brick, Al-Taqaddum, Iraq.
The pilots of an AH-64 Apache helicopter killed 3 extremists after they attempted to place an IED on a route near Al-Bawi, a small village along the Tigris River. After an unmanned aerial vehicle recorded the 3 extremists with explosives, Apache pilots were called in to follow them and the individuals who were acting as lookouts. The pilots followed the insurgents to a residence and observed them loading a pickup truck with IED-making materials. The extremists then returned to the road, and the pilots launched a Hellfire rocket, destroying the vehicle and killing the extremists. Coming up, coalition forces help out some furry friends.
Here's your raid report. Coalition forces killed 1 terrorist and detained 23 suspects during operations targeting Al-Qaeda network in central Iraq. Some individuals captured reportedly have connections with several Al-Qaeda in Iraq leaders, believed to be actively involved with extortion, kidnapping, and networking. During raids based on tips from concerned citizens, soldiers arrested 3 men suspected of placing improvised explosive devices along one of the main streets in the Dora area. Concerned local citizens in Hor Rajab reported a large improvised explosive device cache to coalition forces. The cache consisted of over 100 mortar rounds. The rounds were filled with homemade explosives and primed with detonation cords to later be used as IEDs. And that's your raid report. I'm Petty Officer Ron Trevino.
Here's your OIF weather forecast. We'll start off in Baghdad, where you'll see sun all week with highs in the 80s and lows in the 50s and 60s. To the north, you'll see the calm before the storm, which will be here Wednesday. Highs will hang out around 80 with lows in the 50s. And in the south, Basra will see sun and 90s for the rest of the week, with lows in the mid-50s. That's your OIF weather forecast. I'm Petty Officer Andrew Carlson.
Hi, this is Walt Baby Love, right, ex-airborne paratrooper from the 82nd Airborne Division back in the day during the Vietnam era. Listen up, y'all. I know that y'all are over there doing a fantastic job. we'd like you to do some shout-outs for your loved ones back home. So we're offering you the opportunity to be on our syndicated radio programs called The Countdown and Gospel Tracks. Say what you like. We're going to put them on the air. You'll be heard all over the United States as well as around the world. So once again, this is Walt Baby Love inviting you to take the time and do a shout-out for your loved ones because you know they'd love to hear your voice. We're just trying to bring a little joy to you and to your families. Thank you for all that you do. God bless you.
Call DSN 318-239-0950 or commercial at 703-270-0950 to leave your Walt Baby Love shout-out. Be patient. It takes a few rings.
Freedom Radio.
Here are the latest headlines about Operation Iraqi Freedom. Al-Baghdadi reports the American ambassador to Baghdad, Ryan Crocker, expected to meet with his Iranian counterparts in Baghdad in the coming weeks to discuss the situation in Iraq. Iran said it has not had an invitation from the Iraq government to talk to the United States about the security situation. According to the Associated Press, the government of Iraq announced more than 3,000 families have returned to their homes in Baghdad. Flights leaving from Baghdad to Syria are nearly empty, and no one has registered with the Ministry of Displacement and Migration in the past 3 months. The Kurdistan Workers' Party released 8 Turkish soldiers in a secret pre-dawn handover on the eve of talks in Washington between the Turkish Prime Minister and President George Bush. The Associated Press said the breakthrough came at a key time in the crisis between Turkey and Iraq over the PKK, who are holed up on the border between the two countries. Those are your headlines from around the region. I'm Air Force Sergeant Alana Ingram.
Welcome back. The task of reconstruction requires more than just putting up buildings and paving roads. Coalition forces must teach local citizens how to become self-sufficient and work with their new government to solve problems. Army Private Krista Finley shows us how soldiers and Iraqis are making reconstruction a cooperative effort.
2-7 infantry soldiers and local Iraqis take matters into their own hands while rebuilding Rutbah, Iraq. Iraqi civilians from smaller towns face challenges of development with less people and considerable distance from Ramadi's Anbar government.
It's got its priorities and it's growing. In the meantime, we need to come up with creative solutions to solve problems here on our local level and be self-sustaining.
The first step of reconstruction involves participation of local city council members. These elected officials plan ways to increase employment rate and improve adult literacy classes and build a self-sufficient government.
Working with local officials and the local city council to help them grow into a unified body that can make tough, difficult decisions and lead the people of this city.
Coalition forces support and help manage a small, growing economy no longer controlled by terrorists. Reporting from Korean Village, Private First Class Krista Finley, Headquarters, 1st Brigade.
Coalition forces work together with Iraqis to help improve their quality of life, lending a hand with painting, rebuilding, and providing power. But sometimes their help is required in less traditional places. Seaman Eric Jones has more.
Baghdad, like the rest of Iraq, is in the middle of a war against terrorism. But there's one Baghdad resident who knows nothing of war, and in fact is interested in nothing more than just exploring his new home in the Baghdad Zoo. This is Sadar, an Iraqi brown bear enjoying the new habitat the zoo just opened. Coalition forces have been helping the zoo rebuild and refurbish their exhibits, surveying the area for what their first major project would be.
One of the first things I seen was the bears, down in their small enclosure.
The old habitat was constructed mostly from concrete with only about a 10-foot area of dirt for the bears to walk on.
Animals need to be on the ground, not on concrete, especially that type.
In 3 short months, the new habitat was created. And to cap off the move, a female bear was brought in a few days before Sadar was released into his new home. Sergeant Mowry says they seem to get along just fine, and that Sadar seems to really enjoy having some room to frolic in.
Today's a terrific day for them bears.
And the zoo as well. Already they have 2 more Iraqi brown bears on order, hoping to give Sadar and his new wife some company. Seaman Eric Jones, Baghdad.
Next time on Freedom Journal Iraq, air assault soldiers get a new place to rest between missions. And that wraps up this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. Be sure to log on to mnf-iraq.com where you can learn all about the progress coalition forces are making throughout the country. You can also stay up to date by listening to Freedom Radio. Check out our website at afniraq.army.mil to find out the frequency closest to you. From all of us here at AFN and Freedom Journal Iraq, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.